Hi, this is Don McAllister, and welcome to another Screencasts Online weekly tip video. Last week I took a look at the restrictions built into iOS to control what parts of the system that were available to minors. This week I take a look at the similar features found on macOS. Restrictions on the Mac aren't called restrictions, they're called parental controls. So the way we get to our parental controls is through System Preferences, and then under Users and Groups. I only have two users set up on this particular Mac. I have my own ScreenCastsOnline admin account and there is a guest user. Now, if you do want to add a child or another person in, you can set them up as usual and then assign parental controls to them. Or at the time of setting up, you can set them up with parental controls. So I'm going to go ahead, click on here, so I can get into the parental controls. Now, with this user selected, I could say enable parental controls, but that's going to complain because that's an administrator account. So we'll say no. I'll say open parental controls. And this is where I can now assign to either an existing user or a new user. Again, I'm going to go ahead and click the lock to make changes. I'll use Touch ID to authenticate. And now I can select a user account or create a user account to assign parental controls. I can do it remotely. If I switch on this setting here, I can now manage parental controls from another computer. I have a screen sharing session going here. This is with my Mac Pro. And if I go into Users and Groups, and let's click on the lock to make changes, and then open parental controls. On my Mac Pro, I can now see this computer and other computers as well. So I could access them remotely from a central machine. I won't do that though. Let me close down that screen sharing. We'll go back to the machine itself, switch this off, and let's go ahead and create a new user. So the age, let's say this is a 12-year-old. Give him a name. So Ben, password. We'll create the user. I need to just authenticate once more. Right, and Ben is now set up as a standard user on my Mac, but with parental controls available to me. So let's take a look at some of those parental controls. I won't go through every single setting because there's quite a lot to cover. So allow use of camera. You can switch off the use of the camera. You can disallow them from joining Game Center multiplayer games. If you want to control their email, if we go to limit mail, you can go in and you can specify any particular contacts that they can communicate with. You can also set a request here so that when they do email or exchange messages with a contact who isn't in the approved list, you'll get an email so you can monitor what it is they're doing. So I'll just say cancel to that. You can limit access to various applications on the Mac. You can set them up in this list here. So if I want just to give them access to Notes, say, there's Notes, so that's allowed. Let's have a look at Safari. Say I wanted to remove access to Safari, I could just uncheck that. They can still get to Safari, but I have to authenticate them to allow them to use it. If you want to see all the apps they have access to, click on here, drop down this utility, and you can go through and just specify the particular apps that you are going to give them access to without authentication. While we're on this page, there are logs you can take a look at. So you can see what applications they've used and what web services they've used as well. But obviously it's a new user, so there are no logs at the moment. I might go on as this user and then come back and take a look at this. We'll say done. Access to the web, so browser restrictions, either allow unrestricted access, try to limit access to adult websites, and then you can customize that to add in specific websites or to exclude websites, or you can create a customized list of websites that they only have access to. So if I wanted to add an additional website, I just tap on the plus, add bookmark, enter the website title and address, say OK. So they now have access to ScreenCastsOnline. You can restrict access to the stores, so iTunes Store, iTunes University, and the iBook Store. And then again, restrict music with explicit content, restrict access to movies, so it's set to 12. If you wanted to bring that down or increase that, you can do from here. TV shows, apps, again, apps do have age ratings on them. Apple forced developers to specify an age rating on apps when they're submitted to the App Store, and then also books with explicit sexual content. You might want to take that off. Now, over and above the restrictions on iOS, Mac does allow you to set time limits. So you can specify the number of hours per day that they can use the Mac during weekday use and also via weekend use. and at bedtime as well. So for school nights, Sunday to Thursday, you can specify the times during the night when they are prevented from accessing the computer on school nights, but you can also set up some different times for over the weekend. Privacy, and click on Manage Privacy here. So the various location services and contact services, etc. But we'll not look at that now. Let me just go back a level. And then allow changes to contacts, calendars, reminders, Twitter, Facebook, and diagnostics. Again, we'll leave that for now, and other. So some specific options to turn off Siri and dictation, to stop them editing printers and scanners, to block access to the CD, to restrict explicit language in the dictionary, prevent the doc from being modified, and use a simple finder. And as it says here, provides a simplified view of the computer desktop for young or inexperienced users. Now, what I think I'll try and do is I'll log off from ScreenCastsOnline, save this recording session. I'll log on as Ben, and we'll then come back and have a look at those logs. So I've now logged in as Ben. Once I logged in, I made a few changes in system preferences to allow the trackpad to use a 3-finger drag. I've also run ScreenFlow as well. So now I'm in as this restricted user. If I try and use Safari, the application Safari can't be opened. I disallowed access to Safari. But if I want to give them access temporarily, I can say allow once, and then the admin can use their password to allow them to get access into Safari. And you'll see this is the restricted number of sites that I'd allowed them to be set up. If I go to ScreenCastsOnline here, they can have a look at ScreenCastsOnline. If they want to go somewhere else, let's say Discovery Kids. Okay, that's fine. Close Safari down. Let's run Notes for the first time. Now, this might complain. Okay, I thought I'd give them access to Notes, but we'll say okay for that. I'll say always allow and authenticate. Now, because I've not got an iCloud account set up, I'm just going to use Notes on the Mac. Yeah, it's prompting me turn on iCloud. I haven't put an Apple ID in as of yet. I'll just say cancel. Right, but now they've got access to Notes on the Mac. So let me close that down. I'm going to save this recording session, go back to my admin account, and have a look at the logs. So back on my ScreenCastsOnline admin account on the same Mac, if I go to System Preferences, go to Users and Groups, I need to click the lock to make changes, go to Ben, say Open Parental Controls, again authenticate. Now if I look at the logs, okay, so these are applications. So ScreenFlow, that's the application I used to record the session before. Audio Hijack is an audio application that I had a look at before I set up ScreenFlow. There's Safari, there's Notes, and also System Preferences when I went in to change my trackpad settings. So you can see in the past, well, 3 months, 1 month, 1 week today, just how much time they've spent in various applications, how many times they've logged in, when they logged in, and how long they were logged in for. If we go to the web, okay, so not quite accurate. It didn't pick up the ScreenCastsOnline session. So that's interesting. But Discovery Kids, Disney, and PBS Kids. So it just shows me the number of times they've logged onto a particular website. And also if I open this up, yep, the date and time as well. Okay, and we'll say done. And we'll come out of here. Okay, so that's Parental Controls on macOS. If you want to learn more about using your Apple devices, there are over 700 full video tutorials available to ScreenCastsOnline members, covering all aspects of the Mac, iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, and even the Apple TV. Now, all full members receive a new Apple-related video tutorial each and every week, as well as a free subscription to the ScreenCastsOnline monthly magazine, packed with videos and articles on getting the most out of your Apple devices. Now, you can get your free 14-day trial membership over at ScreenCastsOnline.com, or check out some of the free content over on the SCO Showcase app on the iPad, iPhone, and Apple TV. That's it for this week. I'll be back next week with another tip, so I'll speak to you then.